Hey guys, so I usually don't make videos about my micronation, but this is my micronation called RONBAC, and these are the territories in the main lines. Here are the minor lines that helped form out the shapes, like the Dixon-Mason line, the Antine line, the Grand Ravac line, and the Venter line. Those lines helped make out the state, and that's how Lancer got its shape. The south was the Abram Grayson line, and the north was from the Venter line. But how did Chatter and Ackerkerland, yeah, this is Ronbackian dialect. How did Ackerkerland deal with this? How did they get this weird border? You see, fun fact, the Venter line, before the new rules were announced, it actually spread itself through the Abram Grayson line, which is a major line too, and it spread itself throughout the region of territory of Langting. Usually this wasn't a big deal, and that's how these two got their shapes. Like how Lantern, they got it from two big lines, but new laws came out, and they realized they couldn't do that. So now they had two options. One, they gave up the lantern part, or two, they gave up this part. This is where they fought for a while, and this is when they said, we're just continuing. Boom. But now, here's something you need to learn. All states border at least one line, but there is only one line. There's only one state that borders two lines. No, this doesn't count, because you see the Antine line merges with the Dixon-Mason line, which makes us this blood orange plus pink. Yeah. So this little area. So boom. Now we have this little area. This does not count. This area is the only area. Yeah. This place is called a Grand Line. This is known as yes. No, we did not use that letter. We used a more complex letter in this language. Boom. This is its name. If you're wondering how to pronounce that, remember that precise letter from this language. I forgot which one I did. Oh, here. See this letter? This letter means, believe it or not, MT. Mt sound. So this is Mtil's Grand Line. Yeah, that's the only Grand Line in the world that I can think of, and it's called Mtil's Grand Line. So remember, that means the province of the legally annexed land of the United States of America. Yeah, that's the longest name for anything in the world. Its acronym is longer than an average word, being 5 letters. This thing has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That that acronym can give someone hippopotamonstrous equipodatalophobia. So yeah, more history about the lines. There was an older line that made Grandland and why Southland and Grandland have such wacky shape. There was an old line that is now outdated and no longer a part of the main lines anymore. It was one of the 3 main lines, and it's the reason why it has so much squiggles. It literally divided, and it was called Arrett line. It was called the Arrett line, but Arrett didn't survive, because then it became a part of the Noah Brody line, and then it became part of the Grand RONBAC line, and then it got split, and then no state could agree, no line could agree, no government. The 2 presidents that rule it couldn't agree, so they just said, hey, let's just remove it. Let's remove it out of the 8 great lines. And that's why there's only 7 great lines. Oh yeah, by the way, the reason why the Fenter line, fun fact, each line actually is ruled by a different person. It used to be 50-50 with the 8, but, or whatever it was called, was ruled by the army president, the flag president, so it's 4, and yeah, this was ruled by the flag president. So, yeah, decided that this part is useless. Yeah, and also, to also refurbish that, the Grand Line is also ruled by the army president. Yeah, so in exchange for losing that line, they get a much shorter, but much more rarer, Grand Line. In the only region called the Trampoline End region, which is the only one without a Grand Line. So yeah, they got exchanged for one small line, for one normal minor line, for one grand line. A grand line is only formed when 2 lines touch each other, and it's very rare. And yep, but there's more to RONBACian history. Fun fact, RONBAC was actually given off, we should probably get into from a less liney map. RONBAC was actually given off from a deal from another nation that was here called, and actually this is not called RONBAC, it's called the RONBAC. You better plug up your eardrums. Like, actually cover your ears. It was called the RONBACian Solitude. For some reason. It got the name Solitude from a nation that was the flag president's sister, for some reason, that wanted to make her own micronation. Yeah, let's just say that they didn't last well. But yeah, this would have been the country. I'm trying to remake its borders. It was a very complex nation. It was called RONBAC. And actually, the reason why the RONBACian Solitude even exists is because of an old deal that was made when RONBAC was first independent. You see, this was called the RONBACian Agreement. You see, what happened was, in order for RONBAC, these 17 states and provinces, to recognize RONBAC, you see, originally, the RONBACian Solitude was a part of RONBAC, right? But in order for RONBAC to formally agree this nation is a real country, is that we got 28% of their land, which formed the RONBACian Solitude. And to this day, it is still unknown on how the shape is formed. But this is the most common shape. So yeah, but fun fact, the RONBAC collapsed. It collapsed. But it just collapsed. And that's why the name is, and yeah. There was formerly a K, but since now the state is gone, it's just RONBAC. RONBAC Solitude. And the reason why it's called solitude in the RONBACian language, solitude is actually a word for exchange land from a peace agreement, so that we didn't have any word for it, so we had to use up that word that's old, and we had to put in solitude. Yeah. Fun fact, this map is unofficial, because you see the way the RONBAC works is we go with the X-Telic system, which means documents aren't official unless if the army and flag president agrees. But if one of them doesn't agree, it doesn't pass. But they can't just not sign it. They have to write something on their part. So if they disagree, they put in what's known as the line toll symbol. It looks like this. It's from the Russian letter, and it's not like that. It's something like this. It's more pointy. Let me try to find something that makes it more pointy. Like that. Yeah. No. So basically, you'll have to write an X with a line on top. That's called the disapproval symbol, which means you disagree on something. So yeah, that's a lot of RONBACian history. And fun fact, RONBAC started here, in Trampolino, and then we conquered Outer Trampolino, then Ultra Outer Trampolino, and then Northern Laddie, and then Depot-la Lusu USA, and then Furland, and then basically in agreement we got these lands. And then we marched over to Southland. Then we got Rhodey, then Granlin. Apparently we got Granlin. Then Southland, and then we got West and Eastland. And then actually the second newest state is the Territory of Wei. But then we got the RONBACian Solitude. But fun fact, this isn't all of our territory. We have a little enclave. We have a little area in Panama City Beach that borders the Gulf of Mexico, and that little land is called Florida. It's called Florida. It's named Florida. It's to represent Florida, but it's not Floridanese, so it's not Floridan. So it earns the name Florida, which actually means something in RONBACian. So yeah, this is our smallest territory called Florida, and then Florida means in RONBACian I don't have a Floridan, so cover your ears. It's called Floridan. That's what Florida means in RONBACian. It means Floridan territory. So yeah, it earned its name from a RONBACian word that means two words, and that shows how. So yeah, literally, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 letters You literally replace 11 of those letters. That's the damn and give an extra loop to the, so you see Florida, right? And you know how Florida is the name? It's because in a sentence you would sometimes say, depending on what RONBACian province you're from, you would say Floridan Dane territory or damn territory. Yes, literally. You literally took the first 5 letters from a word called Floridan, and then territory, 16 letters compressed into 5 letters. Actually, no, there is no R. No, it's only Z. Where did the... It's only these letters. You remove the L. If the L never existed in that word, it would show the name. But also you had to replace these 2 letters. So yeah, Flordy is 40. The O has its own little accent. But fun fact about this O, it's a special made O. This O is specifically weird. It's weird. It's very weird. You see, this O is actually supposed to look like this. You have to draw in a line, then you have to draw in a incomplete right triangle. What you mean by a right triangle is this. This symbol means you have to add an L, which means an L to the word, to the letter. And it can work on any letter except for the letter L. Since and even worse for the letter L, it'll be a L. It'll be pronounced as L instead of the L. That's L. Yeah. So yeah. So it's called Florida. It's 5 letters, which represents 6. It's very weird. It's 5 letters that's supposed to represent 6 from a word. So it's called Florida. Basically, that's your RONBACian. So yeah, that's your RONBACian history lesson. I hope you enjoyed this history about a little micronation. Yeah. See you next time. Bye.